Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about the meninges of the brain. So let's not waste any of your time. Let's get right to it. Now, when we're talking meninges of the brain, what we want to reference is this is the same stuff that we looked at with the spinal cord, the same three layers, the same in the same order, and not only that, and you can see there with the dura mater, if you as you're reading or writing that down, it's down there. Oh, it's very, very bottom. But anyway, it's a connected tissue, not connective tissue, but it's a connected tissue to what is in the spinal cord. Just like it wraps around the brain and then works its way down the spine or the brain stem and then down into the spinal cord. So it's a connected tissue. I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying connective tissue, but it's connected to the tissue on the spinal cord. The two changes, or I should say the one change and the one disappointment, is that the one change is that in the meninges of the brain, there's no epidural space, and that would be quite obvious to think about. So if there was a situation, and the most obvious one is childbirth, when a person gets an epidural shot to numb the pain, essentially from the waist down, you wouldn't want to have an epidural space in the brain to where you would essentially shut down the functions of the brain or numb the brain. Now, you wouldn't want to do that at all. So there's no epidural space in the brain. And then the one disappointment with the meninges is the fact that when we get brains to dissect, they don't have the meninges. It would be cool to be able to pull that off, and you're going to see a picture of a meninges being pulled away from the brain. It'd be cool to be able to do that and to see those different levels. But again, the same layers and the same functions in the spinal cord as we are here, which again ties in with the connectedness of the two. In here, and of course I failed to talk about it when I got too excited about the pros and cons, but the dura mater is that outer thicker layer of a tissue, kind of envelops everything, and of course it's thicker, so it keeps everything inside as it's supposed to be. And then here the arachid matter is transparent, as you can see, and it's in between the two. It's connected to the dura mater, it's connected to the pia mater, and again, but that's where the area where a layer of fat was in the spinal cord as insulation, protection, stabilizing, that kind of stuff. And of course the pia mater, just like it is in the spinal cord, is the tissue that's directly touching and wraps around not only just the exterior of the brain, but even into the folds and grooves and all that stuff. So there's no part of the exterior portion of the brain that the pia mater is not touched. And as it says there, it's not visible without a microscope. So thin, but it's all in there, and you'll see on the next diagram these three layers and their positions. Alright, so in this diagram, as you can see, working our way from the top to the bottom, you've got the skull, and then right underneath the skull, both attached to the skull and attached to the arachid mater, is the dura mater. And it has two layers, the peristeal and the meningeal, and there's information about those on previous screen here that I'm sure you captured. But you can see, if you follow along the diagram from the edge where the arrows are, down into, you can see it goes down into the fissures, and then you can see blood vessels coming through, some underneath the pia mater, and then some in between the dura mater levels. And you can see the reference to on the very far right over there, right above the skull, the full skull, a reference to different portions of it. But this is just the different levels that you can see there, and of course the pia mater right along the surface of the brain. And here's the picture that I referenced that I wish we could do with the brains that we get. Actually pull that dura mater away so we can analyze it, and you can see the blood vessels and everything going along the top. And but unfortunately, that's always cleaned off, and we don't get that fun. Well, that's our video over the meninges of the brain. When we come back together next time, we're going to talk about the ventricles of the brain. We'll see you then.